Hey everybody, welcome to another lesson of drums. This time we're going to be looking at sampling as an option to deal with drum patterns, drums, percussion, etc. Now this can be quite fun, okay, because there's many possibilities. There's so much things we can do in this area that I'm not sure I'll be able to cover everything in this video. But let's try, let's see what happens. I have, as usual, a template here of a track that will be grooving as we try to come up with some drum patterns to it. So let's take a listen. And so on. Okay, so as usual, it's missing some rhythmic stuff, you know? It's got a kick and bass, sounds happening. It would be ideal to actually fill in the blanks between the sounds that are actually already happening. This is one way to approach. But for the purpose of this specific video topic, we're gonna try a specific approach to making drums, which may or may not fit in with the rest of the track, but we will do our best, right? So let's go ahead and have an empty MIDI channel ready. We're going to be using this time ready-made samples and loops and see what we can do with them. Usually when people start making music, I guess the most approachable way to get around this stuff is just by using all the loops and samples that are out there on the internet. Just arrange them and you have tracks ready, right? They're usually also quite professional sounding and so on. But there is a big difference between just copying and pasting, you know, some sounds that someone else made and using a sound someone else made to make something completely new and different. Okay, so going down here in two audio tracks, I have two loops. Check it out. This is just a normal acoustic break, drum break. You can find them all over the internet, you know. And this is some glitchy percussion loop, you know. These you can even find, a lot come with Ableton packs, you know. All you have to do is go into the packs place and find a bunch. If you own Ableton, if you purchased it, you will have access to many, many libraries of sounds, right? And loops and samples, etc. So, one thing that comes to mind instantly when we have a ready loop is how to rearrange it, you know, and use it for our own purposes, because maybe we don't like this specific arrangement of drums. So, of course, obviously, you can, the most starter way is just cut out a specific part that you like and arrange it into your timeline as you see fit, you know. And so on. This is simple, this is very approachable, and etc. But let's keep going. Let's say the arrangement thing is familiar to us. What else we can do is actually open up a MIDI track and just click and drag this inside an empty MIDI track down here. If you do this, it should drop this inside a default simpler device. If you go to your instruments, you have a simpler here. This is the simpler. It's a simpler version of the sampler, and it should right away drop this loop inside. If I play a note, right, it's automatically going to repitch it based on which note I play. We have three modes here. If I go to a one shot, it will play it to the end as I press it. We can then proceed to adjust warping features, the length of this one shot, and so on. The same warping features as in audio applies here. We can go ahead and texture, time stretch it, and so on, you know. We can play around with lots of sound design options here. But one cool way is to rearrange a certain drum pattern is to just go to slice mode. In this mode, we will have these instantly cut up based on the parameters we select here. I don't like the way, well, first off, it's stretched, so let's go ahead and get rid of the stretching. The slice by transient option is a useful one, but in this case I see it made cuts in places where I don't necessarily want them to be. So I can go ahead and just change this to beat cutting, So ideally, if the loop was synced, right, I literally just played the slices in order. Very good. We could also do some minor adjustments. You know, we can always click, go here, zoom in, click, and drag just slightly, you know. Now this can be useful, and what's more is we can control the bars how we want it, you know, but the 1/4 one in this case is perfect. This one doesn't. This ending over here. Very nice. Cool. Now let's see, because we have one sample here, and we can go ahead and right away start jamming away, inserting this in a different audio track, routing it, I mean. Let's go audio from 34. So now that we have this loop here, we're thinking, what crazier things can we do with this? Well, this is a simpler, you know, so it's not going to have all the features as in samplers, which we'll get to very soon. So far in the controls section, you do have some, you know, pitch envelope parameters, sometimes amp envelope if we use a different mode. In the classic one, we have option to apply a normal amp envelope to the sample, right? We have some dedicated LFO with some basic, you know, routing which we can work with, and of course some general settings such as panning and global transport. For example, this is nice, right? We can go ahead and if we like something, we can just take a max for live LFO in this case. And I'm just gonna map it to the transpose here. Very nice. I'm gonna go into the sample, change this to classic mode. And I'm gonna make the amp envelope a little bit plucky. This is nice new drum sound that we got from here. I could maybe increase the rate a bit. Up here it goes into FM territory. Very nice, interesting timbre of a drum sound. I would like to resample it actually, so I can go ahead into create an audio track, route this from the sampler, audio from 34, SM101 or whatever, arm both of them, and I just want to record some source material here. Right, I just randomly recorded just to catch the sounds. Is in no rhythm or anything like this, because we're actually going to resample that, you know. This is where we can just keep going into deeper layers of increasingly processed sound material, you know. Now that I have this, right, I can literally just create a new MIDI track and drag that inside there, you know, and see where in this also through sampling, what can we do? Let's say this time I separate it into slices. Where we go from here. Now I have perfect little tiny cutouts of these strange drum sounds, right? Let's bring the volume up. I'm gonna put the fade out. This is sort of like a decay release thing. It gives a little bit of a, I guess, something reminiscent of a pluck. Yes, it's like this, you know. We can go ahead and see what more we can get from this. Let's go ahead and change this to beats and stretch it. And I can just find those specific sounds that I like. Like, let's see. This one I like. This is very nice. This one right here. So I will go ahead and press 0 on this one to disable it for now. So I'm going to create a MIDI clip here and just place this one specific nice sound that we found. Oh. And place it in a sort of arrangement to have it behave like, let's say, a hi-hat, just for a moment, just to hear what it sounds like. It's nice. See, we found a snare almost blindly. Right? And we can already start to just kind of arrange new patterns with completely new sounds that we acquired through resampling, you know. Now, if we go back also to our original sample here, or not original, the first processed one, I can go ahead and just right-click, or better yet, I can actually create a new MIDI track and click and drag it inside this new one. We're going to create one more layer with this, but this time we're going to do it a little bit more automated. I'm going to drop an arpeggiator here, turn on slice mode, select hold, change this maybe to 1/16, and put a random MIDI effect here. Bring the chance all the way up, so we get a rhythmic playback of slices at random. I'm going to increase the scale to get higher ranges. Very good. Now let's drop an auto filter here just to catch a certain frequency band of this sound. This will be perfect. And now I will open an audio track, route this one into it from 3635001. I will arm both of them and just press record. This we want to actually get rid of. And so on, right? Let's go ahead and let's loop that. And here I'm going to just catch this and bring this over here. In the second loop, I will a bit rearrange these just so they don't repeat, right? Just at random, because it's all in rhythm anyway, so it doesn't matter exactly which specific sounds come in, unless we want a specific sound to come in at a certain moment. And so on. You should be getting an idea by now how we can just keep going, you know? We can even resample this. Maybe we don't want this rhythmic sound. Maybe we can just make something glitchy from this. I could cut this part out like so, Control X, repaste it. And now let's play with some stretching here. I'm gonna create a point here and just stretch this all the way across, basically double timing it. Check it, or half timing it. Right, this is cool. Let's consolidate it. This is your best friend when resampling. Control J. This creates a new audio file with all the changes and resetting all the things to default so you can continue to process it. Like, for example, now I can now stretch it in repitch mode, like so. And now let's say I reverse this part. Maybe here will be better. say this gets nice, but let's keep this first part here okay, like so. Actually, this strong sound I would like. Maybe this one looks quite intense, and I will just drop it here. Right. Cool. And let's take this across. Yes, and what's cool is at this point we can even play around with the actual audio files, you know. For example, on bigger zoom levels, we can find nice places to create micro glitches manually. Like say I take this little snippet here, copy it, and place it, just duplicate it many times at the end here. See what that sounds like, right? I can take this part here, and let's say I would like to place it like so. Have it play a little bit like this. And it's so nice and intense that I'm actually gonna take a little snippet from here and duplicate it like so. And let's say I mix it with a snippet from here, duplicate it like so. So we have two snippets looped like this, and I duplicate that like so. Creates this nice little twirl. In this way, when we find little snippets of WAV file and duplicate it, we're essentially creating a custom waveform due to the amount of, you know, rate at which it's looping. It's actually creating a cycle, and you can get whole waveforms this way. Now, what's cool about this, say I like this one, just the first one, or this whole thing, I can consolidate this whole part, and guess what? Take it and drop it inside a new MIDI track. Like so. Nope. Like so. Now this snippet part that we created over here will be behaving as a, you know, sound of an instrument. We can then add an amp envelope to give it a sort of pluck, and we have a new drum sound, just like that. And let's say I create this new MIDI clip a little bit shorter than the rest. Let's give it like a 3/4 of the way to the end. Place this sound maybe somewhere here. And just loop this along. I will take this nice part here and also bring it in from time and time. And so on, you know, just endless playing around with different patterning, I guess, you know. Cool, so that concludes our lesson for today. Tune into the next videos where we will go deeper into the topic of sampling drums. As always, I wish you good vibes on your creations, and till the next one, peace out.